welcome back, everybody. This is episode 3 of Say It Out Loud Sports. I'm your host, Pat Graham. Today, I got my brother Kris and Kevin from Vegas. What's going on, Kev?
What's going on, everybody? How you doing?
All right, so we're going to get right into it with the NFC breakdown. We're going to give you the winners of every division and all that. Quick shout-out to the Beer Cave. If you're local, you know what I'm talking about. If you need snacks, drinks, gummy bears, Three Musketeers, IPA, Sprite, whatever you need, they're there for you. They even deliver right now during this weird season we have going on in the world. Give them a call, pause the episode, get what you need, or get it next week for next week's episode.
Oh, I love the IPAs there. So good.
All beer caves in the world. You guys are MVPs, so keep delivering. All right, let's get into it. Let's just get right into this. I'm going to give you my take on the Dallas Cowboys in the NFC East. So last year, they go 8-8. They did fire Jason Garrett. I know I messed that up a couple weeks ago on the first podcast, and they got Mike McCarthy. So last year, their defense wasn't an issue. They were third down again. Their third down percentage against them, they were second in the NFL. They only picked off people 7 times. That's the second lowest interception rate. But their point differential was 131 points. So just as a comparison, the Packers had a point differential. They were positive 63, and they went 13-3. So to have a 131 point differential and to go 8-8 is just insane. Like, the production was there, and they got unlucky. I think the key to them is getting back to feeding Zeke. Last year he had as few as attempts per game in his career, and they need to get back to that. Dak's passing attempts, and that correlated with it. The attempts for Dak from his rookie year to last year was 459, 490, 526, and 596. So his rookie year was his best year, and then since then the pass attempts keep going up, and Zeke's carries keeps going down. I know he missed some games, but they need to get back to that strategy, I feel like. Another thing that hurt them last year was, I feel, Leighton Vander Esch. He played 9 games, but 7 of them were healthy. Before his injury, they were allowing 18 points a game, and after it was 21.8. So that was a loss for them. So they get him back. They got the new coaching staff, which I think that was their biggest problem, was Jason Garrett, and they got Mike McCarthy. So yeah, I have them with their weapons going 13-3 and taking the number 1 seed in the NFC and getting that number 1 bye. So, Kevin, go ahead. What do you think?
Yeah, the defense was a big issue last year. The offense was fine. Jason Garrett's clapping will sorely be missed. I miss seeing just shots of him clapping during games. So the free agent moves that they made on defense are they acquired Gerald McCoy, Clinton Dix, Aldon Smith. I would be really excited if it was 2013. But unfortunately, all those guys are over the age of 30. And it's an old defense. Sean Lee's still there. If the defense can come around, this team will be the 1 seed in the NFC. I don't think 13-3, 12-4 is out of the realm of possibility. Just the defense has to show up. Right.
One more thing before we get to Kris, I wanted to make this point. The schedule is one other thing I wanted to say. So out of the first 6 games, 4 of them are home. Mm-hmm. The tough games they have at Minnesota is coming off their bye week, and then they get the Ravens and the 49ers both in Dallas. So that's just something I noticed out of their schedule. But other than that, go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Kris.
Well, one thing I want to point out is their key losses over the offseason. They lost Robert Quinn, who had the most sacks on the team. So if you're going to replace him with a bunch of older guys, maybe they produce that, maybe not. But that is a key loss. They also lost Byron Jones. And Byron Jones is a lockdown cornerback. Like, either way, he doesn't get a lot of targets because QBs are scared to throw at him. He got about 64 targets thrown at him, whereas Stephon Gilmore's getting 101. So people are afraid to throw at him. I think you're going to see more QBs throwing towards the Dallas defense that you haven't seen before. And then also they lost a really big key who no one really knows, Travis Frederick. And he was their longtime center, I think 7 years. And last season, he actually missed, and they allowed 56 sacks that season, whereas in 2019, they only allowed 23. So I know it's a team sport, but that is a big piece of that line. So
Right. I think drafting Trayvon Diggs is big. I think he's going to pan out decent. If they can get pressure back on the quarterback, if Aldon Smith returns, I don't even know if he's allowed to. Is he reinstated? Is he even reinstated?
How long has it been?
Yeah, it's been quite some time since he's been allowed to play. I imagine he will be reinstated when the season starts if he isn't already. I don't think they would have signed him if they didn't have the inkling that he would be allowed to play.
Right. And
So I have to imagine he'll be ready to go when the season starts. From all reports, he's clean and sober, which is pretty impressive considering his past.
Right.
But you also got to keep him. I think he's like 32 years old by now too. He's pretty old.
Yeah.
So
I think that Van Der Esch along and Jalen Smith and Van Der Esch up the middle.
Oh, they got
and Gerald McCoy.
They have great linebackers.
Yeah.
They totally have that.
Their front seven isn't bad, and then the secondary, like you brought up, I think Clinton Dix will help. I think he's underrated as a safety.
It's kind of, to me, it's weird. It's like on the offense they don't get injured, on defense they get injured, and then Philly is like the total vice versa of that. They get injured on offense, but not on defense, and it's weird. It's like I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I think their offense. Obviously, last year they put up a ton of yards.
Yeah,
they just lost some weird games. They lost
number one offense.
I think Garrett was 100% the problem. They lost to New England 13-9.
I agree, but I also think that this whole coronavirus thing is going to play into new coaches coming into new systems, trying to implementing that. And
the good thing is they got the same coordinator. But the close games were crazy. Like the Saints game, I remember this game because I bet on it. The Saints beat the Cowboys 12-10, and they had. I think Cowboys Witten had a fumble and Zeke had a fumble, and but the defense held the Saints to 12 points, which you know how hard that is. Then you got the Patriots 13-9 game, and then I think there was one other game. It just doesn't make sense where you can't score anything.
How does a number one offense not make it into the playoffs? And that's the Cowboys' problem.
I think the players quit on the coaches. That's why they're gone. So I think McCarthy's going to come in. I think it'll rejuvenate them. So anyway, I got them at 13-3, the number one seed. What do you got, Chris?
I got them at 10-5. Or no, 9-7.
9-7. Kevin, what are you feeling?
I'm at 12-4. I think they can win the number one seed with 12-4. I think there's a lot of parity this year in the NFC.
Right.
There is one scheduling stretch that kind of worries me. They go to Philly, and Philly's gonna have 10 days of rest. And then right off that game, they catch Pittsburgh at home, but Pittsburgh's coming off their bye.
Is that 8-9?
I believe so. Yeah, it looks like. But yeah, it's the only part of their schedule that concerns me though. So like 12-4, 13-3, I think are very realistic.
Yeah, the start of the schedule is real soft. I think the Philly game was the second game. I think I had them losing one of the first 7 because it's really not. It's not tough at all. And then I think the Philly game I had them losing in Philly as one of the games that I have them losing.
The more I dove into this, the more like their schedule just seems just really. I mean, they catch San Francisco at home.
Right.
You know, it sets up really nice for them.
Yeah. So anyway, it's gonna be fun to watch. And what's crazy is Jason Witten's gone. I know he's a fan favorite, but I don't know how he gets open. I don't know how old he is, but I feel like I run faster than him. And I don't have any knees.
Yeah.
I mean, he makes me feel good because we're both the same age.
But he's open all day. I don't understand it. And he's big.
He's good. He's been doing it for a long time.
It's crazy. And he's still playing. He went to the
Raiders.
Raiders. He just wants to party in Vegas. I know what's up, dude.
I don't blame him.
All right,
so Cowboys. At the tail end of my career, I'd want to come out to Vegas too.
Right. The Cowboys still could make. I think they need to go get like a Davion Clowney or something like that. That would be, or Everson Griffin, something like that would really help that front line. But anyway,
I would agree.
I don't know. Are those guys old enough for that defense?
Right.
Like, I think you have to be over 30 to play for this defense. So
I think, you're right. Maybe they're too young, dude. Maybe
they might be too young.
There's some other guys out there that fit the bill.
Yeah, that's why I was surprised they let Witten walk. He's perfect.
They could call like Bruce Smith or Reggie White, maybe.
There you go.
All right.
Pull some guys out of retirement.
All right, let's get into the Philadelphia Eagles. So last year they go 9-7. A lot of people. So they started last year with 5-7, or going 5-7, and they had losses to the Lions and the Dolphins. So I know they finished strong. They finished with 4 straight wins against Washington, Giants, and they beat Dallas to win the division. I'm just not a big fan. Obviously, Bob, he's not here, but he loves the Eagles. He thinks they're going 16-0. Carson Wentz. And I don't get the love with Carson Wentz. I know he's good, but outside of his huge MVP run season, as a starting quarterback, he's 21-22 as a starting quarterback. So he has a losing record outside of that one season. So I don't know if the injury caught him. I know the Eagles had injuries last year. I get that. But every team has them. You got to make your team better. His main weapon, Zach Ertz, was there. That's who they go to the most. They run the ball. I think Wentz is good. I just don't think he's as good as everybody says he is. Mm-hmm. They lost Malcolm Jenkins, which I think is big. They got Darius Slay, which kind of evens out, but I think Jenkins' leadership is a big thing in the back of the defense. He played 100% of the snap count like the last 3 years, I think. Last year he had 4 forced fumbles. The drafting of Hurts and Rager, I don't understand what they're doing with Hurts. I mean, they said they're going to use him multiple ways. Fine. Rager, and they got Marquise Goodwin, which I think all the receivers are kind of the same guy. They don't have a stud guy. And Ertz is their stud guy. So they got fine weapons. They always seem to win, though. So, I mean, he's kind of like the Russell Wilson of the NFC East. They just find ways to win. But their schedule isn't daunting, but they do have road games at San Francisco, at Pittsburgh, at Cleveland, and they got Baltimore at home. So I think it's going to be with that division, the Cowboys being the cream. I think the Giants are going to be improved, and we'll get to them in a minute. And then the Redskins, they're improved, but not whatever. I think it'll be a 7-9 type season for them. So
yeah. So going back to this coronavirus thing. They are the only team that has their head coach from last year, and I think that's going to play in that division. That's going to play an important part in this whole thing with rookies, with head coaches, everything is trying to implement your new system under this totally unexpected situation. And the Eagles, they've always been consistent, and I think we're just going to see that again.
Kevin?
I don't mind what they did in the draft. They needed a wide receiver. At the end of the year last year, their best wide receiver was also their third string quarterback. That's never a good sign. So the Jalen Reagor pick makes sense. Jalen Hurts, Wentz gets injured a lot. So I guess that makes sense. And maybe Hurts can play some wide receiver next to Greg Ward. I mean, they literally have like 4 quarterbacks on the team, and 2 are going to play wide receiver. It seems like at some point. So I'm not really sure what direction they're going with that, but I don't know. They adding Darius Slay was a big get. They traded a 3rd and a 5th for him. So and then they extended him out, so he'll be really happy there. I like that signing. I think that's huge for them. It just seems like just a I don't want to say mediocre team, but they'll be slightly above average. Maybe they make the playoffs, maybe not. It's kind of a coin flip on that one.
Yeah, they always seem to if it's close at the end of the season where it's like do or die game, then it's always tough. But I think the Cowboys will be far enough ahead where they can't blow it. If it comes down to the last game and it's Eagles Cowboys, I'm probably taking the Eagles just because somehow they blow it. But
yeah,
sure. I just think
I'm sorry. This has like the new 7 seed written all over it in my opinion.
Right. They're going to be, yeah.
Like they make the playoffs only because 7 teams are making the playoffs now.
And then they win the Super Bowl somehow.
I mean, yeah, maybe if Nate Sudfeld leads into the Super Bowl.
Yeah. So I mean, yeah, I think they're fine. They're just I'm feeling a 7-9. But all right. So we got the Eagles. Let's move on to the New York Football Giants. This is one of my. Do you know who their defensive coordinator is? Anybody?
I was gonna bring this up.
You guys
Everybody.
know
it? Oh yeah.
Congratulations on the promotion.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Patrick.
Job. You went from the Dolphins. You went from one bad team to another.
That's what great. I do. Okay. Patrick Graham is the defensive coordinator, so I have to, kind of give him some respect. So they were 4-12 last year. Saquon going down was a huge blow for them. Shepard, Tate, and Ingram all missed time as well. Danny Dimes, that was kind of a fantasy league favorite of people for a couple weeks there, but I think he is going to be a decent quarterback. I think if he has all his weapons, he'll be good. They drafted that Andrew Thomas at 4 to solidify that O-line. They got James Bradbury, Blake Martinez addition from the Packers. I think he was their leading tackler. That's a big get.
155.
And then they got Xavier McKinney in the draft as well, kind of late. I think he was projected to go a little higher. One thing, they were 32nd in turnover differential. I think that's a big. I mean, if they can clean that up even a little bit, that's going to help them improve a little bit. But I think they have all the makings of an improving team. I actually have them doing really well, just based on their offense.
How well is really well?
9-7.
Whoa.
Wow.
Crazy,
That
right?
is really good.
I just
So
think
you have them making the playoffs then.
I think we'll get to that late. I don't think they got in. I think they just missed. We'll get to that in a little bit. But yeah, no, I think that with that offense, with Saquon, if they can all stay healthy and get in 16 games, I think the offense is going to be really good. I think Garrett as offensive coordinator is not bad. I just think a head coach, I don't think he can make the correct decisions or do anything like that. But I think he can teach an offense. It might take a little bit, but the whole coronavirus thing with no fans, I think offenses are going to have an advantage over defense just because there's no crowd noise. And
also with Jason Garrett, he knows Kellen Moore. He knows the offensive coordinator for the Cowboys, so he can actually play with that. With the
no one's
defensive
stopping that
coordinator.
offense, dude. Especially with the Giants' defense. But yeah, the Giants, I think they're going to be a surprise team. There's always one or two teams out of the whole year that is like, why the hell are they even here?
Yeah,
every year. So
True, yeah.
where they're bottom ranked. Like a couple years ago, the Bears were like, I think they said they're going to go 5-11 at 12-4. Then you got the Rams out of nowhere shooting up. So Giants are one of them. One of my teams that I have, and they're 9-7. I'm not saying they're going 12-4. I think they'll go 9-7.
9-7 is pretty.
I have them
respectable.
like I have them beating the Cowboys in Week 17 because I think the Cowboys are going to be sitting people because they're going to be
true.
13-2 going into that game. And
Yeah, that
with
makes
that
sense.
offense, they can win that game. And so I think, and they get the Redskins twice. Like I don't think the Redskins are going to be anything. So I think they got some winnable games. And I think with Denny Dimes, Darius Slayton, Shepard, Tate, and Ingram, and Saquon, they got Deion Lewis from Tennessee, another back to help out with the pass catching. I think they'll be all right. So go ahead, Kevin. What do you think about the New York Giants?
This team makes me sad because I've really enjoyed killing Dave Gettleman over the last few years for his draft picks and what he's been doing as far as building this roster out. And it makes me sad because I actually think they made some pretty good offseason moves. They added James Bradbury at cornerback, which is a smart move. Unfortunately, they're probably going to have to add another cornerback with DeAndre Baker on the lam.
Yeah, that's bad news all over around.
Yeah. So I'm sure Gettleman's wondering why he couldn't have done this armed robbery thing before the draft and not after the draft. But they did sign James Bradbury, so he'll fill in at cornerback. I thought drafting offensive linemen after 2 years of drafting a running back and a quarterback in the first round was a no-brainer. So I was hoping Gettleman screwed that one up, but he actually came through and got an offensive lineman. I thought the Xavier McKinney pick was really good, early second-round pick. They're making good moves, and it's very un-Dave Gettleman-like. So I could see 7-9. I can't get on board with 9-7 though. I don't think they're making that big of a leap.
Right.
But I think they could get over their season win total though. So
what do you think, Chris? About
I like where they're headed. Definitely.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say 9-7, but
All right. Well, that's my bold. That's one bold prediction I got. Let's go, Joe Judge.
yeah. Rookie head coach kind of worries me too. We don't really know what we're gonna get out of there.
Not even a rookie, just a guy you never heard of. He's the quarterback coach for the Patriots, was it?
I thought he was a special teams.
Special team. Either way, dude. He's just no one knew.
Yeah.
It's not a Matt Rule from Baylor or a Cliff Kingsbury, or it's just Joe Judge. Is it Aaron Judge's dad or something? Got the hook up in New York? I don't know.
It's like Jason Garrett just met him at the airport on the way for the interview, and they just both interviewed together. And Judge just took the head coaching job.
It was like the interview from Step Brothers. They're just best friends immediately, and they said, "You can coach, you be the OC, and we're off to the races."
it's a great name. Great name for a head coach.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
So we got the Giants. Go. You got something else? Go ahead.
One thing I do want to add before we move on from the Giants, one scheduling quirk they do have is they catch Philly and Washington off their byes in back-to-back weeks. It's one thing that could, I know you said they get Washington twice, but they're catching Washington off a bye on 1 week, so it may come into play as far as season wins go.
All right. That brings me to the Redskins. I don't have any. I have Ron Rivera. He's got a bunch of work to do. He's got to change the culture. I think they're headed in the right way. Obviously, they didn't mess up the pick by they took Chase Young, instead of going somewhere else. I think they're going to be in games. I don't see them winning any games. They need to.
Yeah.
Haskins is a big question mark. If he can develop for next year, they're going to have a high pick next year, and they can just build off that. Maybe add a couple free agents. They lost Dunbar, which he might. I don't know if he's going to jail, and Josh Norman. But I have him at 3-13. I don't see him winning a ton.
Yeah, I'm pretty close. I would say Rivera he's going to be a great coach.
He's a
for
good
Haskins.
hire for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they really undermined Haskins by bringing in Kyle Allen.
Right.
I'm honestly not sure Haskins is even. It's really weird because Haskins was a Dan Snyder pick. Rumor was the old regime wasn't too thrilled with Haskins. And, I mean, clearly they didn't even start him right off the bat. And now they brought in Kyle Allen, who Rivera had in Carolina, took him in Carolina, and I'm not really sure that Haskins is even finishing the year, and it could create some conflict.
All right, let's get into. I got Cowboys, Giants, Eagles, and Washington. With the Cowboys finishing 13-3 and getting the number 1 seed in the playoffs. That's the only playoff team I have from the East. All right, what do you got?
Yeah, I got the Cowboys and the Eagles making the playoffs. I'm not sold on the Giants yet. I think the Eagles only make it because that 7 seed is in play this year.
I've got Eagles over Cowboys.
Do you have Cowboys? What do you have Cowboys finishing at? Do you have them in the playoffs, or they just
they're at 9-7?
No playoffs. Did you do? Do you know they're 7?
I think they were playoffs. Yeah,
7 seed. All right, let's move on. So, let's go to the NFC West. Chris, you can start us where you feel like.
All right. So starting with the Niners, the big old Super Bowl team. I think we're going to see a lot of regression there. They lost DeForest Buckner, Emmanuel Sanders, Joe Staley, Matt Breida. All right, so Buckner is a veteran. He was the 4th most tackles on the team and the 3rd most sacks on the team. And them drafting Kinlaw, I don't think Kinlaw is just going to come in and fill that gap. Boza, he had a hard time keeping up with Buckner, and he was on his rookie season. So, I mean, filling that, I don't see putting all the trust into the rookies to make that better. So I really think their defense is going to go down a little bit. I'm not saying like a bunch. I'm not going to say they're going to go to 9-7, but I do see a regression there. Emmanuel Sanders, he was their top wide receiver. Receiving, he was 2nd next to George Kittle. I could see Ayuk coming in and taking that over because Deebo Samuel, he had similar numbers on his rookie season. So I can see a rookie coming in filling that, and that's no problem. Joe Staley, I think you got an upgrade there with Trent Williams, honestly. And then looking at Matt Breida, that's the biggest one. The Niners were known for rushing. They were a rushing offense. And Breida, he missed 3 games, but he accounted for 623 yards. Mostert? Yeah, he only had like 100 yards over Breida, and Breida missed 3 games.
I don't even think Mostert played till the playoffs, like come down the stretch. He didn't start the season. So remember, they had Jeff Wilson Jr. jumping over the line and scoring 4 touchdowns.
Yeah, they were a 3-headed committee.
Not to cut you off.
I'm just saying,
you're
Breida,
offending me right now.
I knew I would. Breida, he was definitely a big part of that. You can't deny that.
No, I saw he left. I think McKinnon's back. I don't know. He's coming off a broken leg though, but
yeah, he hasn't played for what, 2-3 years.
Yeah, I'm not really high on him, but anyway,
but I have them at 11-5.
Kevin, what do you think, bud?
12-4. I don't think they regressed that much. They added Trent Williams. Yeah, they lost Buckner and they lost Emmanuel Sanders, but they just filled them right back up in the draft with Kinlaw and Brandon Ayuk with their first 2 picks.
I
don't know if 13-3 is happening again, but 12-4, 11-5 is very realistic. I think they win the division again.
I don't see rookies coming in during this time of the year. Like, this is going to be the hardest transition for a rookie.
Yeah.
And it's going to be really hard to make that production.
Yeah.
And that's the biggest argument I have right now.
Yeah.
But, I mean, they're replacing strength with strength. I mean, their defensive line was already stacked as is. So Kinlaw should be able to, fit in and not have to be relied on.
Right.
A huge amount. And they're not the I shouldn't say they're not the passing, they're not the most passing efficient team, but you lose Sanders, you replace him with Ayuk, it'll fit in seamlessly. I think it'll be all right.
Yeah, the Kinlaw pick, I don't think that's going to – I love Buckner, and he's going to do work for the Colts, which we'll get to Colts next week when we break down the AFC because I think they're going to be really good. But replacing Staley with Trent Williams, 4 of the first 6 games of the season are at home when it's super soft. Like we play the Eagles in week 4, I think, but we got like the Jet. There are 2 road games of the 6 are the Jets and the Giants, which I think the Giants will be better, but I don't think they're beating the 49ers.
No.
I haven't beaten them. And then week 7 through 10, they got at New Orleans. They do, or I think that's week 8. They got at Dallas, and then they're home against Buffalo, which those are the 3 games I'm looking forward to. Arizona's going to be better.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So we got to stop with this whole Jimmy GQ as a system quarterback, though. He's 19-5 as a starter. Shanahan's 4-18 with the Niners without Jimmy. So you can't if you say it's Shanahan's system. Well, C.J. Beathard couldn't do it.
Shanahan's great.
I love Shanahan, but you still need a pairing. We'll see this year when Belichick goes 5-11, and the Bucs, terrific Tom's out in Tampa Bay going 11-5. So we'll see. But
I think Matt Castle would disagree with that one.
But he had players around him too. I mean, I guess it's whatever. You need people. You need a coach. You need a quarterback. That's the bottom line. So, like I said, he's 19-5 as a starter. Like, if you tell me he's a system, I'll take a system quarterback if it gets me the Super Bowl every year. So, I do think it's going to take a little bit of time, but I think with the soft schedule to open, I think that helps Kinlaw and Ayuk get acclimated to it.
Yeah.
They lost Marquise Goodwin, but I don't know what happened. He was gone anyway. I like
he wasn't a big factor.
Kendrick Bourne. I like him. He's a big body. And then you got Kittle and Ross Smelly Dwelly. That's my guy.
I was gonna say, is Goodwin really that big of a loss?
No, not at all.
He's not huge.
No. So I have him at 12-4. I think the games I had him losing. I think I had him losing to Dallas and Baltimore. And I don't remember.
Yeah,
I think that I'm losing to Arizona week 16 actually because I think Arizona plays them tough. So I got them at 12-4. So let's move on. Go ahead. What do you want to do?
Cardinals. They had the best offseason of Steve Keim's career. They got Hopkins, got Isaiah Simmons, got Josh Jones in the 3rd round, who was supposed to be first-round talent. Obviously, those rookies aren't just going to start and make a big impact right away, so it's going to take some time. But I don't know. I'm looking at a better team, and I think they really progress. On paper, they are great.
On offense.
Everywhere. I'm saying you got Chandler Jones. He is like the leading sack master of the NFL. He's like up there. Was he like 1 or 2?
No, he's good. That's 1. Who's
Patrick Peterson is up there. Obviously, he's getting older. Back. Jordan Hicks is a great linebacker.
Great.
Buda Baker's making the Pro Bowl. On paper, they're actually pretty good around. They had Byron Murphy last year. He's going to come in his 2nd year. I think he got a lot of playing time last year with Patrick Peterson being out. I think we're going to see them grow a lot.
Kevin, what's your take?
Yeah, Josh Jones is the steal of the draft.
Yes.
Falling to 70s. I probably read for my job. I probably read about 50 mock drafts, and he was going in the 1st round and probably like 35 to 40 of them, like towards the late end of the 1st round, early 2nd round. How he fell to 72nd, I don't know if he killed somebody in the previous week. Did he rob? Was he there with DeAndre Baker?
Did he do? Who was
I don't know, but
hey, who was?
How he fell to 72nd is beyond me. I have no idea. Yeah, they did very well this offseason. Free agency draft. I like what Arizona's doing. I like the direction they're going. I could see this. I could see them sneaking into the playoffs. Maybe grabbing that 7 seed if Philly doesn't, 6 seed possibly. I think this could be a playoff team this year.
Oh yeah.
Who was that lineman that Lermy Tunsil? Remember he was smoking the weed with the mask on?
Yeah.
Like, did Jones do something like that?
Yeah.
Just hasn't came out yet?
When he kept falling, I was like, did this guy kill somebody? Why does he keep falling like this?
You're going a little well, he did not kill anybody. Anybody listening, he didn't kill anybody, but like just like the Lermy Tunsil thing, did he like Did he? I feel like a tweet's gonna come out from like 2007 when he was, I don't know how, 9. I don't know, and they're gonna be like he was damaged from age 9.
I think teams just overlooked him.
That's crazy.
They had their top 5 linemen, and if they didn't get those, they weren't happy with anything else. And I think he was just overlooked.
Yeah, I don't know, but yeah,
every single team needed an offensive lineman.
You can never have enough offensive linemen.
I know.
Agreed. So last year, obviously, defense was a huge problem. If you listen to our other episode, I love Isaiah Simmons. I think they gave up 16 touchdowns to the tight end position, which was 6 more than any other team in the league. So I think Simmons helps that. I've heard David Johnson leaving's a big deal. Kenyon Drake had 80 yards per game and 8 touchdowns in 8 games with them. I know he had one where he had 4 touchdowns, but 80 yards a game, and that offense is. You don't need a pounder in the offense. Cliff Kingsbury will spread the ball around. Screen passes is his running game. Yep. And that offense is now they got DeAndre Hopkins. I thought they were going to be good already. Now you got Hopkins to it to go with Fitzgerald to run the little short over the middle ones, catch everything, and then you got Christian Kirk for this. It's going to be nuts watching the team.
Losing David Johnson wasn't a loss.
No,
especially in that offense.
They got
a loss.
And they got Eno Benjamin from Arizona State, which I think he was in 7th round too. I was like, wow, that's not a bad. He fits he'll be a decent contributor. And Chase Edmonds got hurt, and that dude before when got Drake, I thought he was doing good too. So I mean, they're loaded on offense. Their defense last year, so I saw these numbers, I was losing my mind. So they're last in yards, 5th in points allowed, tied for fewest interceptions, 2nd most plays against them. So they're on the field the whole time because the offense ran the up-tempo pace. So if they go 3 and out, they're right back on. They had the 2nd most missed tackles. They were 30th in getting off the field on 3rd downs, and they had the longest drives per possession, the longest time on the field per possession. That's insane to me. And
I really want to see my boy Andy Isabella get some run.
He did. I remember he had an 80-yarder against the Niners last year. I was watching on my phone, and it said Andy Isabella, like 87-yard touchdown. I was like, no. The other thing I was looking at, they played some good team. They lost to Baltimore by 7. They always play Frisco tough. Their offense would always drive down, get in the red zone, and stall. They were 29th in offensive red zone percentage, which I think that will change big time with the addition of Hopkins.
Yeah, definitely.
So they moved the ball last year pretty well. And then Vance Joseph is in his 2nd year as DC. I think that's going to help their defense a little bit. In Denver, when he was I know he was a head coach, but in the 2nd year in Denver, it seemed like they gave up yards but didn't allow points. So it's like the bend but don't break. So I think that will be, if you go back and look at the numbers, that's what they did in Denver when he first came in. The 2nd year was the year it flipped. They still gave up a ton of yards, but the points dropped significantly. I think they're like 8th in points against. So I have them at 10-6. I think that's a playoff team to me.
Yeah, that's where I got them.
They do get the Lions, the Panthers, and the Jets. I mean, I think the Lions will be improved, but the other 3 are awful.
It was a fairly easy schedule.
Yeah, I didn't
in my
see.
opinion, it wasn't too crazy. Obviously, we play Niners and Seahawks, and those are always tough opponents.
Right. All right, let's move on. We got to get Seattle.
Seahawks. I respect them. They definitely have an MVP.
It's a nice way of putting it.
They have an MVP caliber quarterback. I mean, he is great. He's like one of the best in the league, in my opinion.
He's never got an MVP belt, so I don't know.
I know, but he should. I just have them going 9-7.
Just the standard Seahawks. Standard Russell Wilson.
I mean, they went
11-5, 10-6 last 2.
So I don't know. They're just
the Legion of Boom is gone.
It's gone, but it's like it just got filled with a bunch of younger guys.
No, and so weird. The 12th man is muted. There's no fans. No 12th man.
Yeah, but they are so much better away than at home. Away, they went 7-1.
Don't lecture me. All right, Kevin, your turn. Go ahead. Still bringing the facts. I told him to shut up.
Facts.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of the direction the Seahawks are going. Russell Wilson aside, I honestly wonder how they make the playoffs some years that they do. They just baffle me. Pete Carroll, Russell Wilson, there's something to them. But they went 11-5 last year with a +7 point differential.
Yeah.
I have no idea
insane.
how they do that. Yeah. Like it's right up there with the Packers last year. I have no idea how they were able to manage that. They cannot go 11-5 again.
So they went 11-5 and 11 of their games they won. So all of them, or by one possession.
That's essentially what it's saying.
A win is a win.
True
Yeah,
facts.
Yeah, a win is a win, but I mean, they signed Greg Olsen at tight end. He's pretty much past his prime. He's at the tail end of his career. Bruce Irvin's in kind of at the end of his career. They're going to lose Quentin Dunbar.
Yeah. Well, we don't know
year.
what happened there. You never know.
I mean, we don't, but given the NFL's history of just coming down on guys for seemingly less than armed robbery.
Yeah.
It's a little intense.
Yeah, are we sure that he's going to see all 16 games, maybe even 8 games? Like, even if he gets cleared of all charges.
Yeah.
They tried to charge Myles Garrett with attempted murder for him to do with the helmet. I mean, this guy actually did armed robbery.
Yeah, they're losing quite a bit off the offensive line, too. I see 7-9. I don't see them making the playoffs again.
So they did.
Russ is great, but I can't see him carrying this team, forever like that.
I'm biased. They're insane, but they lost. So they had the 27th ranked O line last year, and according to Pro Football Focus, I guess I don't really like them. They have some weird stats, but they lost Afedi, Fant, Ayupati, Britt, and DJ Fluker all off the line, and then replaced them with like 4 new linemen. So there's no continuity.
I think they
had
like
losing too much.
They had like
still
19 linemen on their roster
It's
at
insane.
one point
There's
during the
no-
offseason. Like they don't know what they're doing there.
They
They're
need-
just like throwing people everywhere.
It's the continuity is a big part of O line, obviously, and I just think Russell Wilson has bailed them out. Like they play so crazy. It's insane to me how they win games. And I think this year with Arizona, I think Arizona's taking a big step up. I think the Rams they're not going to be as good, obviously, but I think they have weapons. They can surprise. I just don't trust and see the Legion of Boom's gone.
They were gone last.
KJ
They were gone last year.
Yeah, KJ Wright and Bobby Wagner. I don't even know how old they're getting old.
Yeah.
They got
But I mean, they were gone.
The
They were
Magic's
gone last year.
I don't care. The Magic is gone. 6-10. Sorry, Seahawks. Don't listen to me. Call me at the end of the year. They're going to be 6-10 at bust. I hope they go 0-16. And Russell will and the whole trade rumors. I forgot about this.
Yeah, that's true.
There is no chance they were trading Russell Wilson.
No.
That was contract negotiation. I don't care what Chris Sims says. I don't care if Adam Schefter calls me after this and tells me they were going to trade him. No, they weren't. It's not happening.
No. Not at this
no
point.
way.
There's no way they're letting Russ walk or
No.
trading him away.
Not happening. All right.
No.
So 6-10 Seattle. No Seattle listeners. We just got unsubscribed. No one's listening to me in Seattle.
I've got them at 9-7.
All right, Ram. You got 9-7. Kevin, what do you said 7-9?
7-9,
Let's go.
6-10,
6
somewhere in
and
that
10.
area.
Trash.
They're not making the playoffs.
NFC West, last
All
team.
right, so the Rams, they're going for that new year, new me type situation. They got new uniforms,
like
new
them.
stadium. I absolutely hate them.
I like him. Everybody hates him.
I hate
I kind of
them.
do that, though.
They got rid of
Why?
so many people. They got rid of Gurley. They got rid of Cooks. They got rid of Matthews. They got rid of Fowler. They got rid of Littleton.
you know what they remind me of,
Littleton
real
was
quick?
such a big piece. Gone.
That show where like they win the lotto and they spend all their money and then they're like sleeping in the gutter 2 weeks later.
Yeah,
They did that.
they're gonna.
They
do
spent
that this
all
season.
their money and then now the cap caught up and now they're all leaving. So
Yeah, Aaron Donald
McVay's in the
and
gutter.
Ramsey are taking all the money, and the defense is going to suffer from this.
when you go to LA, when you look in the gutter, that's where the Rams are.
Does anybody
Sean
know
McVay
when
is
they
gonna-
get a
might be on the-
first-round draft pick again?
The what?
Does anybody know when they get a first-round draft pick again? Because then they trade away like all their first-round draft picks for the next decade.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, it's
Sean, I don't know that, but I know Sean McVay is going to be wearing a trench coat next
Yeah,
year. I think.
yeah.
They've butchered their cap situation pretty bad.
They should have held on to Littleton. I think Littleton was a huge part.
No, they lost. So they lost Gurley, Cooks, Dante Fowler, Clay Matthews, Eric Weddle. Well, Weddle retired. Littleton.
Yeah,
Like
Littleton. And then I mean, kickers aren't super important, but Zerline, they lost him too.
Greg the Leg's gone.
Yeah,
How do you
Yeah,
lose a
he's-
kicker?
Yeah,
yeah,
he's
because
in
they
Dallas
they
now.
literally got rid of
Hold on.
everybody.
Oh, I didn't even see timeout. Where's Greg the Leg?
Greg
in Dallas.
Lee, yeah,
He's in 14 and 16 and 0.
the kicker made all the difference.
Brett Maher was 20 for 30. He was 66. Greg the Leg's in Dallas.
Yeah,
Oh, they
I'm
can
pretty sure
score.
he's in Dallas.
Oh, they might break the NFL record in scoring. They can score from anywhere. All right. Well,
So
anyway, go back.
I
Sorry.
got the Rams at 6-10. I don't know where you guys have them, but they're not doing well.
Yeah, they don't have a lot of depth. I could see this going really bad. I think
Yeah.
McVay just really butchered the salary cap, the draft situation. Like they traded away all their first round picks. I don't like the direction this team's going. 6-10, 7-9, maybe if things just go right. Just there is some regression in their coin flip games from last year. I just don't like the direction this team's going though.
Right. I think Cam Akers I think is the one bright spot. He's gonna get a lot of the carries. Malcolm Brown's there, but I think Cam Akers is the talent. He was kind of a dark horse. If he was on I don't know, rookie of the year. I don't know if you can win it when you go 5-11, which was where I have him. I think he's going to put up good numbers and be a bright spot that they can build around. And Goff isn't bad. I don't think their offense is terrible. The O-line's awful, and they drafted no O-linemen. They didn't get any O-linemen. Goff got sacked so many. I remember watching the Browns, or I don't think it was the Browns, but somebody, and they couldn't protect him at all. He couldn't throw the ball.
Yeah, well, it's tough to draft O-linemen. We don't have any draft picks.
That's also true.
That's true.
Yeah.
Good point.
Went all to defense, and they only got 2 players out of that.
It's crazy. Yeah, it's not good. They're going to have to move off everybody. Darnold and Ramsey's gonna have to. That's gonna be bad for a long time. Sorry.
Yep.
And then I forgot to bring this up with the Niners too. The coronavirus, California's not opening up. Like they're gonna have to go to Arizona or something and play games.
I guess.
That's what I read recently. I'm like, oh, cool. No one can practice.
No one knows what's going on. This is all new territory.
Terrible, Jared Goff's gonna be wearing masks, throwing passes.
These coaches are going to suffer.
Wonder if they made them wear masks during games.
I don't think they'll do that.
Dude, everybody's going to suck in wind. You know what I mean?
Everybody just has the dark visor, the full face visor now.
A full visor. Dude, who cares?
You can line up anybody out there. Nobody knows who they are.
Yeah, dude. No one knows.
If anyone comes 6 feet from you, you're down.
6. Yeah, okay. All right, so the West. 12. I got Niners at 12-4 winning it. Arizona 10-6 making the playoffs. Seattle 7-9, the Rams at 5-11. So
yeah, I'm in the same boat with that order.
Same order.
Yeah, same order.
I'm pretty close.
Yeah. You just have the Seahawks.
Seahawks at 9-7 would be the biggest.
Oh, so you have
difference.
the same order, right?
Yeah, same order. Just the Seahawks would be the biggest difference.
All right, Kevin, you got the NFC North because I know you're a Lions fan, so I'm gonna get into that, baby.
Hot take central.
Before we get hey, Stafford selling his house or what?
Yeah.
Is it a ruse?
I mean, no. I mean, this is the world we live in now. Stafford's wife actually went on Instagram and filmed a video explaining why they were selling their house. So he's not getting traded. It's actually because they're expecting their 4th child. They're going to have 4 children under the age of like 3 or 4. And their house is on a lake and it has a pool. And they just don't want to be on that many bodies of water with that many kids in that age range. Yeah. So there's no trade, there's no animosity, nothing like that. So, but it's just the funny world that we live in where a quarterback's wife has to go on Instagram to explain that to everybody.
It's a new world.
Yeah, new world. All right, hot take central over here. First, I want to start off with the Packers though, because I don't know if Matt LaFleur is playing like 14D chess while we're all playing checkers, if he's getting job security by drafting Jordan Love with the first pick. But it's a great way to undermine your all-world quarterback. And I know that Rodgers is, he's on the downside of his career for sure. And last year it didn't go great. But for a team that did go 13-3, even if it was super fluky, this is not how you want to spend your first-round draft pick, in my opinion. I don't know the direction they're going. Why not grab a wide receiver in what was the deepest wide receiver draft class in quite some time and give him another weapon, or grab an offensive lineman and replace Brian Bulaga? But spending your first round pick on a guy that's not going to play for 2 to 3 years is not a good move.
Yeah, well, like you said, Rodgers, if he's declining, then you kind of want to have that ready to basically take the mantle. So, I mean, if he gets a year behind Rodgers, that's not a bad thing.
Oh,
I don't think it's horrible. I don't think it's as bad as people think.
He's going to get 2 to 3 years. Rodgers' salary cap his cap hit is huge. Like, they really, unless they can find someone to trade him to and take that cap hit, like, Love's not going to see the field for 2 to 3 years unless they want to pay a backup $25 million.
Oh, it's unraveling this year.
I don't know.
I mean, you're not going to have a rookie quarterback sitting, playing in front of Aaron Rodgers while Rodgers sits on the bench and collects like $25 to $30 million.
Yeah, true. definitely.
I think
So-
it's – go ahead.
I was gonna say, unless they find somebody to take Rodgers' contract, which I really don't see that happening given his decline. I really think I'm not really sure what the Packers are doing, quite honestly.
Yeah, they could have used a receiver, but
Could have? They got Devin
still-
Funchess.
they still have Devontae Adams, and they did kind of
They drafted
draft last year for a receiver. They got, was it Equanimous? What's his name?
Equanimous St. Brown.
Yeah, they got him. They got the Lizard King, Alan Lazard.
I liked him out of Iowa State, but
they were kind of progressing. I mean, we just kind of got to give them a second, and I think that's what the Packers are doing.
I mean, they could have grabbed Michael Pittman Jr., Chenault from Colorado. They could have grabbed T. Higgins out of Clemson. And instead, they grabbed a guy who's probably not going to see the field in any meaningful situations for 2 to 3 years.
True,
quite honestly.
but he gets to learn from Rodgers, and judging by Mahomes, who got to learn behind what, Smith? No, not Alex Smith. Who did he learn behind?
Smith.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was Smith. Yeah.
I mean, these better quarterbacks have gotten a chance to kind of learn the system, and it's, I mean,
Rodgers doesn't seem like the type of guy that wants to teach a class, but maybe. Like Alex Smith seems like a studious type, and he wants to he's feeding the guy.
yeah.
R.I.P. Alex Smith's leg. I hope you make a speedy recovery, my man. But
the one thing I wonder though is, I mean, from LaFleur's point of view, the coach, like, this is job security, you know? Like, you just drafted your quarterback. He's probably not going to see the field for like 2 years. So you probably lock in your job security for 5 years or so. So you get to actually develop him and see him play.
Are they going to move Rodgers, you think?
I don't think they can.
They can?
I don't think anybody's going to take his contract.
But I also don't think that even if he plays poorly within those 2 years, he doesn't really lose value. I think you'll still be able to trade Rodgers or do what you want.
He's got to let the contract go out. I think you could get off him, like the Raiders. You know, if the Raiders have a bad year this year, would they go out and be like, all right, let's go? Because they got young
Rodgers,
guys.
I believe anybody next year would still pay Rodgers what.
But that could be a catastrophe because I don't think
now.
Love is not going to be ready next year. He's not bad, but
no, I mean,
he doesn't have any what? Who's going to? He throws to Devontae
from
Adams?
Bakersfield.
Bako. But no, so I get what you're saying. The Packers. You probably touched on this. They were 9-1 in one possession games.
Yeah, I mean, this is one of the luckier teams in quite some time. A 13-3 record. They really were like a 9.5 win team, 9-10.
Yeah, I read 10
team last year. Yeah, like this is one of the luckier seasons. I mean, not only that, they caught Seattle at home in the playoffs, and Seattle had to go to Philly, home, back to Green Bay for the divisional round, and they were pretty beat up at that point too. I'm not really sure they should have been in the NFC title game, and then we saw what happened there.
They got
they were never in that thing. That thing was over at halftime.
So I have they're going to fall apart this year, and falling apart says 8. I have them going 8-8. So
you're more generous than me.
So I have
them at
6 and 10. Yeah. So I think go ahead.
I think they finished last in the division.
So I have these guys going 8-8, and one of the reasons they're listening to this road game. So they got at Tampa, at San Francisco, at Indianapolis, at New Orleans, plus the division they're in. I think Chicago is going to be tough with that defense coming back. They do at Minnesota. Obviously, the division, they got Minnesota. Detroit's improving. I think Chicago, they had a bad year last. Like I'll get to this in a minute, but if you told me Chicago went 8-8 last year, after everything I've heard, I'd be like, no, they went 3-13, because the Trubisky hate was just rampant. Like, so the whole locker room scenario with Jordan Love coming in, Rodgers has already been criticized for being like an aloof type player, doesn't listen to coaches, whatever. They went 13-3, but like Kevin said, 9-1 in one possession game, 63-point differential, 13-3 is insane. Like at most they should have won 10, I think. So and the cornerbacks, they lost Tremont. I think Tremont Williams is a free agent, or if he left yet, I don't know. He might still re-sign there or whatever. I don't know if he's still on the market, but they have Kevin King and Jair Alexander, and they
have a great secondary.
So in the past 2 years, though, those two players have missed a combined 21 games. But they've had Tremont Williams, which I think he was 9th in rankings in Pro Football Focus. So you have that, and then you have two of them.
Mm-hmm. So last year they picked up Savage.
Yeah, the safety. Yeah, no, they're fine.
I
but
think their secondary is good.
I just think the
and
locker
young
room
and-
dynamic, along with not drafting a backup quarterback and a backup running back, and not addressing the outside other than Devin Funchess. They lost
think-
Jimmy Graham. The tight end from Cincinnati, DeGuara, or he's not bad, but I just think it's going to implode.
I think that the Packers have not changed that much compared to the other teams in the NFC North. Like I feel like
seems like they're rebuilding with a really expensive quarterback. That's what it seems like.
Yeah.
yeah, they might just be playing around him, but I mean, they haven't changed much, and I feel like the Vikings have changed a bunch this offseason.
Yeah.
The Lions, they've changed. The Bears are trying to change, and they don't really know where they sit. And that's, I mean, I have the Packers going 13-3 again.
The last thing I was going to say was the opening of their season. So they're at Minnesota. Then they get a home game against Detroit, and then at the Saints. So if they start those two, like the Falcons or the Minnesota's on the road, that could be a dangerous game. They're not. They can run the ball. They could win. Mm-hmm. They lost Diggs and a couple other pieces, but if they say they go 1-2 in those games or 0-3 even, Detroit's played them tough. Both I think they beat Detroit by 3-1 last year in both games, and one of them was on a controversial call on Monday night.
Yeah.
So say they went 1-2 or even 0-3 in those three games because the Saints are loaded and it's on the road.
Yeah.
If they go 0-3 to start the season, that locker room is going to just explode. That's what I think is going to happen. I think they go 1-2 or 0-3 in those first three games, and it's just Rodgers is mad, and just it implodes, and that's why I have them at 8-8, and
Yeah, I mean, makes sense. I don't see them losing to the Vikings. I mean,
Dalvin Cook and Alexander Madison. All right,
it's not the team.
it's who knows,
I mean, we'll get to that with the Vikings, but
yeah, go
I think
ahead.
if I remember correctly, too, the Lions led like every minute of both the games and
Yeah.
lost it on like the last play of both games.
I know that first one they called on the Monday night game. They called some erroneous hands of the face call, and it was a big thing. But also we had Booger McFarland telling us it's 3rd and 8, so if they get 9 yards, it's a first down. He needs to
He's
throw.
not wrong.
He's not right. He was never wrong.
He's not wrong.
It was crazy. I can't believe that. I could do.
I'm
Man.
gonna miss Booger on Monday night. I don't think they should get rid of him, honestly.
He would give the most long-winded responses to what happens if Dallas wins this, like the Philly and Dallas game. Say it was on Monday night. Whoever wins gets a playoff spot. Well, if Philly wins, then they get a playoff spot. But if Dallas wins, then they get a playoff spot. So whoever loses is not going to be in the playoffs. It's like, all right, Booger. And if you have Booger McFarland. All right, let's move on. So we got the Packers. Minnesota. What do you got next, Kev?
All right, I want to move to the Bears next. 8-8. I was surprised that honestly, I didn't realize they went 8-8 last year until you just said it. Yeah, it just seemed like it wasn't that good of a team, all things considered. Trubisky is probably going to start the year on the bench. DraftKings has Foles minus 300 to start the year.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, minus 300 to start the year. So it looks like Trubisky's probably done, which is undermining their own GM by doing that. So I don't hate what they did. Like in the offseason, they grabbed Foles, they got Robert Quinn, they grabbed the corpse of Jimmy Graham at tight end. I'm not really sure why.
Timeout. What's Trubisky plus? What's he plus to start? 220?
Probably in that range. There's a third guy in the mix, but yeah, like
Chase.
Foles,
There's a third guy?
yeah, there's
they don't know what they're doing.
Dude, they can't. You saw Nick Foles in Jacksonville last year.
Yeah.
yeah,
it's not
Trubisky's
good.
plus 200 and Tyler Bray is 60-1 if you really want to take
Tyler Bray's not.
if you really want to throw your money away on something.
No, stop. But no, that's crazy. What do you think about that? Like, do you think if you were the Bears, you starting Trubisky or Foles?
Trubisky.
Well, you traded for Foles, so you kind of got to start him. Like
Oh,
they
Trubisky-
already rejected Trubisky's extension. I mean, like they're pushing him out the door as is.
More of like a
Oh.
competition in my eyes. We're bringing in
Trubisky's gotta be
Foles,
the
and you
starter.
have to prove yourself now.
I'm mad.
He's
gotta be the starter.
Why
There's-
do you bring in Foles if you're not going to play him?
Competition.
You gotta bring some
why
competition.
did the Cowboys bring in
Competition,
Dalton for Dak?
But you flat out traded for Foles too, and his contract. Like you could have just signed Cam if you wanted competition.
True. I might have to get some action on. I think Trubisky. Go ahead. You can finish. I think Trubisky has to. If they don't start Trubisky, that's insane. I mean, I think the outcome's is pretty similar, but Trubisky's only been in the league 3 years. Foles, yeah, he won a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Dude, these guys that come in and win Super Bowls, like backups, are just legends, dude.
Case Keenum.
Case Keenum.
I mean, not Super Bowl.
He didn't even
but,
do
I mean,
anything. He
was
threw
like,
an erratic pass to Stephon Diggs, and Nick snagged it and took off, and he's a legend. Dude, what one throw? Fitzmagic, dude. What's his career record? You know what's funny? I'm gonna go off on the rant right now. So all these people, I keep trying to get people on our podcast. I know it's episode 3. I'm shooting for the stars. So the first episode, I tried to get Ronnie Brown after Ronnie Brown 2.0 came up when Bobby called him Jalen Hurts.
Yeah.
Jalen Hurts, Ronnie Brown 2.0. Yeah. Well, I wrote, I tried to get Ryan Fitzpatrick. I wrote Tua, the Dolphins website, and Devontae Parker. I DM'd them all in a group chat, and it's called The Hunt for Fitzmagic. Okay? And I said, hey, I can't find, because I couldn't find him on social media. There's no blue check mark next to him, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm like, how do I get a hold of Fitzmat? Like, I've Googled it. I've tried everything. Then I found one, you have to sign up to, like, he accepts, he's a speaker, but you have to pay a bunch of money for him to come on your show. Or come on, like, he does events. So I'm like, all right, so I DM'd Devontae Parker, those 3, and was like, hey, I'm on a hunt for Fitzmagic. I know you can get a hold of him. I want to see what he's doing during this quarantine. Like, what's his hair look like? Is his beard crazy? Because I saw a clip the other day on Instagram where he's doing all his clips are memorable. He threw a touchdown and just flexed on everybody, and his eyes were the size of Mars, dude. It was insane. So I'm gonna keep DMing these crazy people, and one of them's gonna hit.
You know what's even better about this story is that Patrick Graham was the defensive coordinator for the Dolphins last year, and they probably like, why the hell does this guy want to talk to me?
I'm going to write, that's my next contact. I'm hitting up Patrick Graham, dude.
They're like, we're offensive players. We don't want to talk to the defensive coach, and he's on a different team now.
All right, Patrick Graham, defensive coordinator, New York Giants. I'm Patrick Graham, okay? Patrick Graham is going to DM Patrick Graham, and you're going to get me some magic. Okay? If you guys know him and you're listening to this, tag him. Okay, I know everybody listening probably doesn't know him. But if some reason you guys come across this, tag him, Fitzmagic. If you come across it, send me a DM. I just want a picture of your quarantine beard. Okay, that's it. Pretty simple. All right, continue with you were on. Where were we at, dude? I went off the rails. Bears.
All I can think about is Ryan Fitzpatrick's beard now. That's all I can think about.
No, dude. His beard when he was on Tampa and he came out with the chains on and the glasses. And he looked like Conor McGregor.
Yeah, I thought that was Conor McGregor. They're pretty much twins at that point. Should have just got the chest tattoo.
Yeah, maybe fought in the octagon. Who knows? But all right, we're back on the Bears. The last thing you said, I believe, was the ancient Jimmy Graham.
Yeah, the corpse of Jimmy Graham. They also drafted Cole Kmet out of Notre Dame at tight end, so I'm not sure how much run Jimmy Graham actually gets there anyways. I also like what they did by grabbing Jalen Johnson out of Utah in the second round. That was a pretty good pick right there. And they got Artie Burns from Pittsburgh in the offseason too.
Yeah.
The defense is solid. The defense should be good. The offense has question marks, obviously.
Yeah, the defense. So the defense is Akeem Hicks only played 5 games last year. They lost Danny Trevathan early. They started the season last year 3-1, and then these guys started falling. The defense, so the year before in 2018, remember they went 12-4 2 years ago. Their defense gave up 17.7 a game. Last year, the defense gave up 18.6. It was still a top 5 defense. So they didn't really miss the defense, but the offense 2 years ago averaged 26.5 a game. They went down to 17.5. But I remember the defense scored a lot of touchdowns, so that goes into it. But like you said, Cole Kmet, Jimmy Graham, I think that Jimmy Graham is probably brought in to tutor Kmet, which I think is good. They can run a two tight end scheme. Their running backs average 3.7 yards per carry, which is awful. Montgomery, I felt like they just handed off and they ran into the back of the line. They lost Jordan Howard.
I'd actually like to see them use Tariq Cohen a little more.
He didn't do. I mean,
I feel like they just gave to Montgomery and let him run with it, and I'd like to see Cohen a little more.
Yeah, I think he's too small to run. He
he's
showed
a pass
flashes,
catching.
but yeah, so they did. They got an undrafted free agent. Artavius Pierce from Oregon State. And I've watched him a ton because I watched Oregon State games. They're on late in the West. And him and Isaiah Hodgins just dominated every time. So I think Pierce will bring another back that they can rely on outside of Cohen to carry it. Mm-hmm. And I think he could have a decent impact on their team. But I think Komet and Graham, Allen Robinson's a beast. To go 8-8 after everything you hear, like I said earlier, if you would have told me everything wrong with the Bears, I would have thought they were 3-13. So to go 8-8, I think they bounce back. I have them at 12-4 and winning the division.
Oh
wow!
That defense. Now,
defense is solid.
That defense is Roquan Smith, Khalil Mack. They got Khalil Mack's brother. Tell me when you don't play with your brother and he's on their side, you're gonna just sack. It's sack lunchtime. Like it's a problem. And then they drafted the corner from Utah. They got Eddie Jackson in the back. Like their defense is stacked. So if Trubisky can go back and just not turn the ball over, because I think last year he was 17-10. The year before he was 24-12. If he can just get the playmakers the ball. Taylor Gabriel's nice. They got Cole Kmet. Don't turn it over. That's all you have to do. Be a game manager, whatever.
Yeah.
But Trubisky's his fourth year. If they start Foles, hopefully Big Dick Foles comes back.
That's what gets me with them is I don't think they know where they're at right now.
But with me thinking I think the Packers regress a ton with that. I think the Vikings are going to pull back a little bit, and then the Lions will improve, but I don't think
not enough to
do that. I like where the Lions are going. We'll get to them in a minute, but I think that the Bears have a path to win that division and get back to where they were 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And Nagy's coaching for his job. Like he could be on the hot seat. I don't know.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, if you want plus 400 to win the division for him.
Ooh, that's pretty tasty. I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah, that is pretty nice.
All right, so you got the Lions, or where are you at now? Packers, Bears. We got Lions or Vikings next.
We're gonna move on to the Vikings. We're gonna save the worst for last. Vikings really. They had a great year. Won a playoff game last year. Unfortunately, they're overhauling their coordinators, both of them.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just not really sure. I'm not really sold on this team. They had a good draft. I like what they did in the draft. They went cornerback and wide receiver, which is exactly what they needed. They grabbed Ezra Cleveland on the offensive line. They are losing a lot, though. Their secondary, I don't know. They lost their whole secondary basically from last year, but I'm not sure that's a bad thing because it wasn't that great to begin with. It's a lot of good names, but the production really wasn't that great. So I could see I got them going 7-9 this year for the Vikings. I don't think they make the playoffs again. I think it's a pretty average team, to be quite honest. I think the coordinator situation comes back to haunt them, especially with the situation of not being able to be in the facilities all the time and the coronavirus and all that. So 7-9 for the Vikings.
Yeah, I agree. They definitely had a major overhaul on their defense. I know they weren't productive last year, but the year before they were great. I mean, they got rid of pretty much everyone on that team. It was like Linval Joseph, Trey Waynes, Everson Griffin, Xavier Rhodes, Andre Sendejo. They got rid of everybody. And yeah, I don't like where they're going. It's not good. And just Kirk Cousins, he's not really producing. So I love Dalvin Cook. I'll give them that. But other than that, and Stephon Diggs is gone. That was their top receiver.
Yeah, I think Jefferson will replace a lot of the production there, but wasn't happy there. I think that probably brought a little bit of the locker room down, but I think Jefferson's going to be a monster. But like the whole sentiment of this conversation is their defense. Like you said, Linval Joseph's gone, Xavier Rhodes, Mackenzie Alexander, Trey Waynes, Everson Griffin. Griffin's a free agent right now. Yeah. I don't think he's signed anywhere, so he could come back.
Yeah, I read he's not coming back. Even if they made him an offer, he probably wouldn't take it anyways.
He needs to go to Dallas. He needs to go to Dallas. All right.
Is he old?
Is he over 30 years old? Fit right in if he is.
Come on. Make an exception. All right. Then Jeff Gladney was a good pick. They definitely needed a corner after losing those three. I thought Mackenzie Alexander was good. Rhodes, I think in the right system, can be good. He was getting toasted, though. The running game's still going to be good. The defense takes a step back, and I have him at 8-8. Just with the Packers going down, I have him at 8-8.
Yeah, I've got them 7-9. I like what they did with the draft. I thought they did a good job with the draft. They even grabbed Ezra Cleveland out of Boise State to solidify the offensive line some.
Yeah.
But I just, there's nothing too exciting, I guess.
All right. What do we got on the Detroit Lions front?
Oh, all right. Hot take central.
This is your team.
Yeah, this is my
misery.
Team. This is the bias alert galore right here. I have them going 10-6, winning the division for the first time since 1993.
Explain.
So they lose Darius Slay. Big loss. It is a big loss, but he hated Matt Patricia. Most of the defense hated Matt Patricia last year, and all those guys are now gone. They're going to overhaul their defense. Last year was about as unlucky as it could get for this team. Stafford only played the first 8 games. They were 3-4-1 in what Stafford played. And then he got hurt, and David Blau ended up finishing the season as quarterback. Things are not going to go good when you have David Blau finishing your season as quarterback. They haven't won a game since October, which is not good. Not good at all. But if you are going to tank, that's the way you tank. And tanking allowed them to grab Jeff Okudah. They also grabbed Trufant from Atlanta, which will help, cover up the Darius Slay trade to Philadelphia.
Yeah.
This team was so unlucky last year. They actually should have been a 6-win team, not a 3-win team. The point differential, they have to have some regression, and that's with half the season without Stafford. They should have been a 6-win team, so they're gonna have some regression there. Stafford should stay healthy this year. His back seems to be okay. And let's see, what else did they do? I'm sorry, I'm losing my spot here. They got Jamie Collins, Desmond Trufant, Julian Okwara in the draft. They've got 3 running backs that should be productive this year with Swift, Bo Scarborough, and Kerryon Johnson. And they grabbed I'm not even going to try and say his first name, but Vaitai, the offensive tackle from Philadelphia. And they drafted Jonah Jackson out of Ohio State. I like their draft. I thought they did a good job with the draft. They're not losing a ton, and the guys they did lose hated Patricia anyway. I don't think that is really that big of a loss. Slay hated Patricia. Everybody knew it. So I actually think 10-6, playoffs, division winners, first time since 93. Go ahead and shit all over it.
Yeah, I do not think that Okudah can just step in for Slay. I guess you got Trufant there to help out, but I don't see a rookie coming in and taking that mantle. I don't see it this season. It's for a lot of teams. They also lost Devin Kennard, who he was tied for the first most sacks on the team. He went to the Cardinals. But playing off your thing with the defense, not liking Patricia, maybe that's true. Who knows? But they were still productive in that system. So I have them at 5-11. I don't think they're going. They're better than last year, but I don't think they're going anywhere fast.
Yeah, you had all the notes I had. Jamie Collins and Daron Harmon coming in from New England. Maybe they like Patricia. I don't know. Okudah, I think, is definitely a good pick. They lost Slay. I think Okudah will fill some of the void. Snacks Harrison, he's a free agent as of now.
He was terrible last year.
His nickname, I just like him because his nickname is Snacks. You know what I mean? That's the best nickname in football, I think.
Yeah, I don't think their defensive losses are glaring just because of how bad the defense was last year. And they addressed the defense in free agency and through the draft. There's going to be a regression. They're not going to be nearly that bad. And I readily admit I am a very biased fan, and I've been a long-suffering Lions fan for sure. But I actually think this team could do something, and I'm actually pretty optimistic for the first time in a while.
So I think you're 1 year early.
It could be. It very well could be.
I think so. They started 2-1-1, and that tie was outrageous. They had a 17-point lead on the Cardinals in week 1, and they blew that lead in the fourth quarter. Because I remember I had Kyler Murray in fantasy, and he had -1.5, and then he finished with 28.
That's when the fourth quarter was magic for him.
And so they started 2-1-1, and then just fell apart, blowing leads and over. That game, I think week 4, they had Kansas City up by 10 or something. There was a 99-yard fumble return. I think Kerryon Johnson muffed it or something. It was insane. I remember watching that game. I was like, Lions are about to beat the fucking Chiefs. It's insane. So I think that they definitely were in game. They blew leads. They lost to Green Bay by 1 and 3 on that Monday Night Football call. And then once you get to 3-9 or whatever, 3-8, the season's over. People kind of I think they play, but they know what's what the fate is. So getting off to a good start is important, and I think they open against Chicago, they're at Green Bay, they're at Arizona, and then they play the Saints. So I think the bad start will I think Patricia's done after this year, and Bill Belichick's going to come and save him next year. Maybe demote Patricia or get rid of him, but
Yeah.
I'm not really thinking that. I'm just Belichick.
You just said it out
that'd be
loud.
wild. But think about that though. Belichick's like, I'm gonna go to the Lions. Patricia, you're my D coordinator, and then Matt Stafford's a good quarterback. He put up numbers. There's no doubt their offense is good. Like you said with Swift, Kerryon Johnson got hurt early last year. They got I totally forgot about Bo Scarborough. That was a fantasy legend last year. So
this team had everything go wrong last year.
Right.
Just everything go wrong. I actually think they over regress too much, and that's why I think they go 10-6, win the division, make the playoffs. I can't see everything breaking wrong for them again. And if I will say I did grab some 8.5 to 1 for them to win the division. And if you really don't believe in them, like you probably find some Patricia first coach fired to hedge off that too.
Right.
Yeah. If they don't get off to a good start, it's bad. I mean, it's make or break year for both Patricia and GM Bob Quinn.
Yeah, I have them at 6-10. I think they win some games, and I think they're in a lot. It's kind of similar to the Redskins being in a lot of games and just kind of choking it away. And I think Patricia gets fired.
Yep.
Pretty quickly.
Yeah, 6-10, and the whole front office is gone as well as the coach. So.
And like I said,
I wouldn't say he gets fired. He's
think done. He's out, dude. Do you know what he looks like? He looks like Big Cat off PFT or off Barstool. He reminds me of him.
You know what Maggie thinks? Maggie thinks that he looks like a fat Bobby Deskin.
Shots fired, dude.
It's funny.
Wow.
Shots fired.
That's good. That's calling Bobby skinny, but yeah.
Oh, Bob's texting you later. Bob,
Hilarious.
text me. And I'll give you my brother's phone number if you don't have it.
Text me a picture of you next to Matt Patricia.
With a pencil in your ear. Number 2, Ticonderoga style. All right, so final standings for the NFC. Kevin, what do you got in the North?
I got Lions, Bears, Vikings, Packers in that order.
Oh man, I got Bears, Vikings, Packers, Lions. All right, Chris.
I've got Packers, Vikings, Lions, Bears.
Well, this
Oh my.
Yeah, that's a weird one.
We're gonna have to book some bets off air on this one.
Yeah, we might be doing this. We'll update you guys.
I don't want to violate the Wire Act on a podcast. So
Yeah. All right, so now we'll get to the NFC South. Okay, Richard, my producer, showed me a picture of Matt Patricia just now, and it kind of does look like Bobby Deskin with a pencil in his ear, with his beard and everything. This is classic. As soon as you get off the podcast, you got it. Bobby, shout out to Bob. Matt, I'm calling you Matt Patricia, week 5, baby. All right, let's get in. I'll let you guys. Who wants to start with the South? My notes. I printed them. Go ahead.
Let me start with this one. Carolina. Who cares?
No,
They're gonna rebuild. Yeah.
No, it's out, dude.
Luke Kuechly's gone. It's
I don't even want to talk about him. 2-14. That's my pick.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Everywhere Rule's coach. His first year he sucked, and his third year he's been really good. So we'll talk about the Panthers in 2 years.
Fair enough, dude. Teddy Bridgewater as a backup coming in for the Saints, going 5-0 to Teddy Bridgewater, Carolina is going to be completely different. So Carolina fans, sorry.
Yeah.
Just watch.
We still like
You're wasting
McCaffrey.
your career.
They can't even watch anything, huh? There's no basketball.
McCaffrey.
Charlotte Hornets.
They can just cheer for McCaffrey. That's it.
What a waste of Saquon and Christian McCaffrey's best years too.
Giants are going 10-6. So I don't know what you're talking about. All right, so
I'll
guys
look that up.
go ahead, Kevin. You can start with the South.
All right, let's start with the Falcons. I don't know why I have this irrational love for the Falcons because the year they lost the Super Bowl, I talked somebody into betting them at 100 to 1 to win the Super Bowl. And obviously when they were up 28-3, I looked like a genius. Luckily the guy I talked into betting it actually hedged off before the game, so it wasn't too bad. But man, I felt really good at that point, and then watching them implode. And I mean, just ever since then, it's just been imploding more and more.
Mm-hmm.
So last year they went 7-9, negative 18-point differential, which is exactly what their record was, 7-9.
Mm-hmm.
They added Dante Fowler. Hayden Hurst was a nice acquisition.
Yeah, I
for
agree.
Luke Austin Hooper. I like that pickup. They signed Todd Gurley. Hopefully his knees hold up. Hopefully his knees don't go the Pat Graham route. And they also had an edge Taco Harris, who's really underperformed in his career.
Yeah.
Hopefully he turns it around. They lost Desmond Trufant from the secondary, but they addressed that through the draft with C.J. Henderson.
Mm-hmm.
I think this team's just another 8-8. I don't see much else going right for them. Ever since that Super Bowl, man, the second half of the Super Bowl, just nothing's gone right for them.
Yeah, it's the Super Bowl curse. That's what's going to happen to the Niners. It's what happened to the Rams.
Nah.
I will say they did start out awful last year, and for some reason decided to start winning games when they shouldn't have. So it was kind of like the anti-Detroit Lions.
Yeah, it's weird. Yeah,
they beat the Niners by 1 yard.
They're a wild team. They're wild. I just don't know where they sit.
I got them going 9-7. I lost my notes for this, but their offense, obviously this hinges a lot on Todd Gurley's health. I think Gurley has a revenge plan on his mind. The coordinator came out and said he's concerned with Gurley's health, but I don't believe a word of it. Like, you're going to say that, and until he runs you over in week 1. Julio Jones, they need to do a better job of getting him the ball in the red zone.
They've needed to do that for a long time.
I don't understand how many people I've heard say that, and the guy just doesn't understand it. I would throw to him every time. They got Hayden Hurst from Baltimore. They lost Hooper. They replaced him with Hurst. I have them with that offense, dude. There's no reason. Like, they finished 7-1. I think they started 1-7 and finished 6-2 or whatever it was. They finished strong down the stretch. They beat the Niners in San Francisco. They have the weapons to do that.
Well, I think their defense was their big problem.
They had a lot of injuries, and they added whatever. I have Falcons 9-7.
They added Dante Fowler.
There you go.
Yeah.
Fowler. They lost Vic Beasley. They added Fowler, which is an upgrade.
Yeah.
I have them 9-7. There's not.
I have them at 7-9.
Yeah, I'm 7-9. Dan Quinn probably gets fired this year.
I agree. Yeah, Quinn's another guy that's just sitting on hot Cheetos.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised. I was kind of surprised they kept him around for this year, and I don't know, 7-9.
All right, what do you got, Chris? You want us to do the what do you want to do? Saints.
Saints. I got winning it, the whole thing at 13-3. I don't have a lot on them. Just got Emmanuel Sanders.
Loaded.
Emmanuel Sanders, and I think that's a good compliment for Michael Thomas, who was the number one.
Can't guard Mike.
Yeah,
can't guard Mike.
I see them taking that. I'm not reading into the hype of Tampa that much. I don't know if you want to go on that.
I think Tampa's going to take a little bit to get accustomed to. Week 1, obviously Brady versus Breeze. I got the Saints winning that one.
When I first saw that, I was thinking whoever wins that gets the division.
Oh. Well, maybe they get them late in the season too. So that's the weird thing.
Yeah. So I don't know.
I have the Saints at 11-5. They win the division based on it was whatever the predictor tool I was using was based on common opponents, whatever the tiebreakers are. So I have them at 11-5, winning the division. But with my feeling about the Falcons, I feel like the division is so tough they're going to beat up on each other.
It is. That's and their schedules are rough.
It's tough. The Falcons going 9-7 is all dependent on if their offense performs. So I have the Saints at 11-5. I got the Bucks at 11-5. Falcons 9-7.
I don't think the Panthers are beating up on anybody, but
that's the bye week. They get 3 bye weeks.
Yeah, I like the 12-4 for the Saints this year. Solid team, great team, very deep. They're stacked. Anything that they lost in free agency, they went out and got adequate players to replace that. The draft was pretty good.
Mike Jenkins.
Yeah.
Or Malcolm Jenkins, sorry.
Malcolm Jenkins.
Malcolm.
Yeah, they lost Von Bell. They got Malcolm Jenkins. They lose Eli Apple. Yeah, I'm sure they'll be all right, though. Emmanuel Sanders could have a really good year.
Yeah, with everybody. Yeah.
Everybody's looking at Michael Thomas.
Yeah, the only thing... I think
I was going to say the one thing that they do have going against them is last year they were second in turnover margin, first in fumble recoveries. That generally tends to regress year over year.
Yeah, I saw that.
12-4, maybe 11-5, just because Tampa got better too. So,
Tampa's defense is underrated. The one thing about Saints I was going to go back to was the Breeze's age. Obviously, everybody talks about Tom Brady's age, but no one because that overshadows Drew Brees' age. Obviously, last year he missed 5-6 games. They got Jameis, which he can't read. He says he can read now, but he didn't ever say he could read defenses, which was he's like, I can read a stop sign.
Well,
I can read a book, but no
read
mention of defense, dude. That's insane to me, no?
Yeah.
If you're a quarterback, you're like, oh, I can read a book. Cool. Can you read a defense, dude? I don't care if you can read a book. Can you tell me if the safety's blitzing or no? That's the common.
Well, I think he understands that 30 interceptions just kind of tells you that he doesn't know how defensive. He doesn't understand.
I don't know. Like if I can't even the analogy. I'm trying to think of one right now. Like if I was driving a car and can you see the car coming? Like I can see the stop signs just fine. Can you see the other cars? I don't care about the stop sign's not moving. Can you see the car coming? If a car swerves in your lane, can you see the car?
You
know what I'm saying? Does that understand?
I love the fact that Jameis waited till like his 5th year in the NFL to get LASIK.
Yeah. He said, I don't have enough money, bro.
It did like a long time ago, like when you first got your rookie contract on.
And I mean, some of them weren't I've seen some crazy plays out of Tampa. Like he hit OJ Hard right in the hands, and that shit popped straight up in the air, and the guy snagged it. But it was absurd. I think
he was risky.
No, so I had him, not to dive into fantasy too much, but I had him in fantasy, and I swear I'd start -2 every week. First play of the game, I think 3 or 4 times. First pass would go right to the other team. I'm like, here we go. -2. Perfect. What are you doing?
What's funny is Bruce Arians' slogan is no risk it, no biscuit. And
he fit that.
Brady isn't a risk it quarterback. And
Brady.
I kind of wonder how they're going to fit each other. I'm a little skeptical of it.
It's whatever. They're going to be fine. All right, so let's just skip that. What do we got in the NFC South? Or does anybody else have any points?
I think
we pretty much moved on to the Bucks, right? So
yeah.
I don't know, man. I'm not totally sold on the Bucks. Like their season win total is 10, and I don't think they get to 10 wins this year. I think 9-7.
That's where I got them.
You got them at 9-7?
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh man.
But it matters that their season win total is 10. So like I mean to win a bet on their season win total over, they need to go 11-5.
Yeah, I wouldn't bet it. I have them at 11-5, but I wouldn't be sold on betting the over. I could see him going 9-7 or 10, even 10. I don't want to bet for a push. That's stupid.
Which Gronk do you think we get this year?
You get a Gronk that they can rest throughout the year because they have OJ. I think OJ Howard's a stud. Like I know he's not been great, but I think with Brady and Gronk coming in to lead him, he's got all the athletic tools. We saw that in the national title game. And then I think they still have Cameron Brate. So I think you get a Gronk that they maintain throughout the year, get him reps, get him, they're not going to ride him to the playoffs because you don't have to. You got Mike Evans.
For morale.
You got Mike Evans and Godwin on the outside. Brady hasn't had these type of weapons since Moss, and you can't argue that. He's had Edelman all year, but I think that
he was younger though when he had those guys. So I mean, maybe that'll. I don't know.
I don't know. I don't think Brady's regressed as much as everybody thinks. I'm a Brady fan. I mean, my kid's middle name is Brady.
Yeah, he's one of the greatest. I mean, there's no denying that.
No, but I mean the regression. I don't think he's regressed as much as people think. So, and I am biased on this one for sure. I mean, like I said, my kid's name is
and
Brady.
We have to see him changing from Belichick to not Belichick.
I think Belichick needs Brady more than Brady needs Belichick. That's all I'm going to say.
Okay.
And we'll go over that next week when Mr. Belichick's going blah, blah, blah. Tune in. All right, so we got the Bucks. Not talking about the Panthers. We did the Falcons. All right, cool. So I got Saints 11-5 winning the division. Bucks 11-5 losing on the tiebreaker, making the playoffs. I got Atlanta at 9-7 getting the 7 seed. So I got three. People coming out of that.
Wow,
3 teams from this division.
And then Carolina going 2-14. So
yeah, I like Saints and Bucks to make the playoffs. Saints win the division. Atlanta misses. Not by much, but they miss. Yeah. And the Panthers probably get the number 1 overall pick and have a decision to make with Teddy Bridgewater.
That's not a decision. You take a quarterback. Fields or Lawrence.
Yeah.
And then I could see them turning it around a little bit.
Well, the problem is they signed Bridgewater to a 3-year deal.
That's awful, dude. Carolina, sorry about your luck. All right. So who's the playoff team? So who you got, Chris? Do you have your 7
I had Green Bay.
Who's your bye team?
My bye team would be the Saints.
All right. Who you got, Kevin? Do you have them? Do you have the 7?
No, I actually didn't write those down, but
All right.
I think the Cowboys get the first seed.
Agreed.
Niners or Saints grab the 2 and 3, some order. Detroit grabs the 4, winning the division. Probably see Philly sneak in. Tampa's in, and I'd probably have to put the Bears in then.
All right. So I got the bye at the Cowboys. The 2 versus 7's Atlanta at San Francisco. 3-6 is Arizona at the Saints. And
Arizona
Arizona,
versus
right?
Bears. I'm sorry, I forgot about that. Sorry, I didn't write it down.
And then you're good. And then I got Tampa at Chicago, the 4-5. So, and we will be making corrections to this depending on, this is way too early. We're in coronavirus season.
Yeah.
We got to see who else commits armed robberies in the offseason.
Yeah, you never know. Tom Brady's committing B&Es. He can barely. So let's get into that real quick. They're doing the golf May 24th. What do you got planned for May 24th? Anything?
Probably watching that golf.
No, I told my wife, I'm watching golf all day. She's like, the golf's on. I'm like, yeah, golf's on. Tom Brady.
It's day 200 without sports. We have to watch
90.
golf.
No, the problem is, Kevin, you said out in Vegas the golf courses are open, yeah?
Yeah, we're open out here. I actually went golfing last week.
I'm about to drive. I might drive there and golf.
I encourage it. You grab your own cart, moves along pretty quick, not a lot of people out, pretty good.
Yeah. Golf. I saw the odds at Tiger. So it's Tiger. If you guys don't know, it's Tiger Woods, Peyton Manning, and then Phil Mickelson and Tom Brady. I got the odds at -210 for Tiger and Peyton, and then +170 at Phil and Brady. You got the same thing, or have you looked at it?
I'm looking at something really similar now. Yeah.
So Phil and Tiger just golfed last year, and Phil won. Is Brady not good at golf?
I think I've heard that Manning's better than Brady, but they're not like that far apart. And I don't know how you can't take a flyer on Mickelson Brady at like +175, +180. This is a little coin toss in my opinion. You're grabbing like +180 on something, so I'll take the plus money on that.
Even if it flipped, I'm taking plus money. It's an exhibition. I think Peyton's the better trash talker, but Phil Mickelson will give it right back. So I feel like Brady and Tiger are all like buttoned up, if you will.
I could see Brady taking this pretty seriously too.
The new Tampa Bay Brady.
He's a competitive guy. I think he's more competitive than Manning. I could see him taking it seriously.
I hope they make Gronk should be the caddy. That would make it even better. And did you hear Charles Barkley's riding around in a golf cart next to him?
Is he really? No,
that's what I heard. I don't know if I saw that. So anyway, May 24th, tune in golf. I know I usually never watch golf unless Tiger's in, but he's in, so I'm watching. And Brady and Peyton, so it's gonna be a good time. What else we got? UFC a little bit. Did you catch the fights last week? This past week's been nuts. There's been 3 fight cards. There's one going on right now, which I'm gonna watch tonight. But did you see? What do you think about Henry Cejudo's retirement? Anybody?
Money driven. He's not retiring. That's all money driven.
I agree.
You get him a good fight where he makes some money. He'll come out of his quote unquote retirement.
I think the problem is there's no money fights in that division.
It was always tougher, even like guys like Demetrius Johnson to get big fights when he was really good.
So I think Cejudo. So he's been talking to Ryan Garcia, the boxer, talking about he's gonna make him bend in the knee and all that, the WWE shtick he's got. But I think if he fights again, I think he'll fight again probably in like a year and a half, 2 years. If one of the two, Peter Yan or Aljamain Sterling, can get the belt and retain it and defend it like 3 or 4 times, and he's gonna try to create like a mega fight, I'm coming back type thing, kind of like St. Pierre would create now, but he's older. Cejudo's young enough where he could come back at a decent age and try to get that belt back and get paid a little bit more than he is now.
Yeah, that division's always had a rough go because it just kind of lacks name and star power.
Right.
Demetrius Johnson just crushed that division for so long, and it just seemed like there was, until Cejudo came along and took the belt from him, it just seemed like there was really nobody there, so nobody really cared too much about that division.
Yeah. Did you see Ngannou's KO?
No, I missed that one.
Oh, you didn't see the interview then either.
No, I didn't see
Okay,
that.
imagine this. Okay, Ngannou knocks the guy out in 20 seconds. Okay, so he gets the interview, and there's no fans, so there's no no cheering, no booing. So it's just like a common, like we're talking right now. So Joe Rogan asked him a question, I don't know I can't remember what question he asked, but he's the most soft-spoken, biggest guy I've ever seen in my entire life. He's like, so say the question was, what'd you have for dinner last night? He would say, oh, I had some chicken. I had some chicken and some French fries. So he's like, Joe's like, who do you want to fight? And he's like, oh, I'll fight him. Like, imagine back in high school, like say you're in high school again, and like the guy is like trying to steal your girlfriend or something, and you get mad, you call him, and he's like, no, you don't want this smoke. You don't want this. And you're like, come outside, and you're ripping him, and he's like, no, you don't want this smoke. And he's just going in, and then you get to the house, and it's Francis, and the guy's monstrous and just KOs you. So I was dying when the interview was going on, because me and the other people watching it, I was like, this is the nicest guy I've ever seen, but he's just going to KO you in 8 seconds. But on the phone, you wouldn't know that. You just show up at this guy's house, and you'd be like, oh, never mind. I'm good, bro. You can have her. So I thought that was funny. The Gaethje Khabib odds, you love Khabib.
I do love Khabib.
Do you think Gaethje has a shot or no?
I mean, in UFC, I think most guys have a puncher's chance, and since Gaethje's a puncher, sure, he's got a shot, but I have no issue laying -200 with Khabib in this fight.
Yeah, I think those odds definitely go up. I think Khabib is going to get all the bets. So Gaethje hits like a truck, though. Ferguson, I'm sure you had to have watched the highlights of the Ferguson fight, right?
Yeah, I saw Ferguson bleed everywhere.
There is no human, that can take that type. It was insane.
I'm bummed that we're probably never going to see Ferguson Khabib.
We will.
Bummed about that.
We will.
Are you sure? I mean, they've
think
only tried 5 times, and it just keeps falling apart for one reason or another.
Even if they're 50, I don't care. Like it's got to happen, dude. That's like you said.
Khabib's somewhere in Russia. Ferguson's probably hanging around Florida. We can't get them on the same continent, so I'm not sure how that fight's ever going to take place.
I'm going to hold out hope, but the Gaethje thing, or the quote, Frank Mir said right after the fight, he posted it, he tweeted or Instagrammed, whatever, and he said the cure for COVID-19 is in Tony Ferguson's face. That was the best quote. So I was going to get to quotes of the week. There's so many quotes. I kind of want to do this new segment where it's quotes of what's the best thing you heard, like the best quote you heard this week. That was one of them. The cure for COVID-19 is in just take it out of him and just inject it with everybody, because I don't understand how he didn't get knocked out. He would have knocked out 15 dudes. The other one was Anthony Smith. Did you see that where he lost? He was losing his teeth.
Oh yeah. I had actually had Teixeira in that fight, and the first round I was really worried, and then after that you could just, I mean, man, I wish they wouldn't have even let him come out for the 4th, let alone beyond that.
You said my teeth are falling out.
Yeah, I fault Smith's corner on that one. I know the ref took some of the heat for it, but I don't know, man. If I'm in Smith's corner, I'm not letting him come out.
Dude, he handed the ref his teeth.
Yeah.
If you hand me your teeth and I'm the referee, I'm like, bro, are you sure you're going?
Yeah, you sure you want to keep doing this?
I mean, I get like Colby Covington broke his jaw, so I mean, these fighters are animals. I can imagine. And then the last thing I got was the Conor. What's next for Conor? Like, is he gonna fight? Like, he's talking crazy on Twitter, which he always does. But do you think there's a path?
I think there's a path, but Dana wants people in the crowd for a Conor fight. You know, like, pay-per-view is great and all, but there's a lot of money to be made at the gate for something like that too. And yeah, I read earlier this year that Dana wanted Conor to fight 3 times, and then COVID happened, and obviously that's 3 times is probably not going to happen.
Yeah.
But do you really want Conor walking out to an empty arena? Like, doesn't it just suck all the atmosphere out of the fight?
A little.
It just sucks the life out of it.
A little, but it'd be interesting to see. I think he's got to fight.
Yeah, where there's money, he's going to fight.
No, but I think the best fight to make, I don't think you can't fight Tony. I think Tony needs to sit out a little bit and kind of see how it plays out. But I think they need to book Conor Poirier. Poirier is ahead of him. They were spouting off about that. That would get him in line. The winner of that could fight the winner of Gaethje and Khabib. It makes the most sense. Tony's obviously going to be there, but if he takes some time off, obviously he got pummeled. Like he needs to take some time off, and he's great. Like I don't want to take anything away from Tony, but Connor needs to fight, and I don't think the Diaz trilogy does it. I think that doesn't really solidify anything. Like if he beats Poirier, he's next for the shot. So
Connor would beat Poirier.
Yeah.
Connor Gaethje would be a good fight. I think everybody wants to see Connor Khabib too.
Yeah, no doubt.
I know for gambling purposes, I want to see it so I could back Khabib again. I don't think much has changed.
I don't know. Yeah, I get it, but I don't know.
Yeah.
I hope they book Connor Poirier and then let him fight the winner. But who knows?
I'd be good with that. Maybe do a little tournament with Gaethje, Khabib, and Connor Poirier.
Go that route. And then depending on what happens, if say Khabib loses to Gaethje and Connor wins, then you can have Tony Khabib and Gaethje Connor on the same card. It'd be insane.
Yeah, that would be a sick card right there.
All right.
I do want to say credit to Dana White for pulling this off too. I'm not the biggest Dana fanboy, but man, pulling something like this off is ballsy and it's awesome.
Yeah,
so,
man, it's given.
I mean, they've had they had one positive test and they caught it really early.
Yeah,
and I mean, I give them all the credit in the world. I'm not the biggest Dana fanboy by any means, but I think this is awesome. The fact that something is going on in the sporting world.
I think it's paving the way for everything to come back. Like
I agree.
I don't.
Yeah.
And I might get hate for saying this. I don't care if baseball comes. They can fight over money all I want, but as long as I got football and UFC, I'm good. I want basketball, and that seems to be they're going to come out with an announcement in the next 2 weeks. So hopefully, I don't care if there's no fans. Like I want to watch it. So we'll see. But anyway, thanks for joining us. If you're not a football fan, I'm sure a couple weeks go by, we'll get back to basketball, UFC. If you can, subscribe to us. We're on YouTube, Apple now, Stitcher, all the thing. We'll post a link later. I challenge you, invite one friend that doesn't like us, get him to listen. Other than that, thanks, Kevin. Thanks, Kris. And we'll be back next week for the AFC breakdown.
Yeah, thank you.